This is the Life Roast with your hosts, John and Big T.
Ready?
All right. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Life Roast. I'm John. This is Big T over here. And we're going to dive down I think we're going to try to take a little bit different of an avenue this time, right? Instead of going down the bitch fest politic side of things, right? I mean, is that what we agreed to?
Yep,
yeah.
agreed.
So we're going to come at you with something a little bit of positive. We have this term that we use a lot. And if you've listened to us at any level, personal or on here, you've heard the term boo bird, right? And so something that we've never actually really done is explained what these boo birds are, what kind of roles they play in our lives, how to identify these boo birds, because sometimes they wear some pretty good cloaking devices or whatever. What are they? Costumes? Something? Yeah. Cover themselves up pretty well sometimes in way of, being, kind of a background noise in our lives. And a lot of people struggle with boo birds in their lives because they tend to be the people who are closest to us, right? Especially the ones, we got family members, we got friends, our teachers, our coaches, our, anybody and everybody around us. Somebody ends up running into a boo bird on some level in some area of life. So what is a boo bird? Please, T, I know you love
definitions, because I'm Johnny on the spot when it comes to my Hooked on Phonics. So, boo bird, according to Google, and if it's on the internet, it's true, a home fan at a sporting event who boos one or more members of the home team. We all know it. The team's not doing that well, and all of a sudden you start booing them. Here in Cleveland, you got the Browns, so there's a lot of booing going on there. So that's what it is, and John gave it the perfect kind of metaphor towards what we're talking about, and it's really those people in your life that no matter whether you're up or you're down, they're your critics. They're your ones telling you, I told you shouldn't have done that, or why are you doing that, or I can't believe you're going to do that this weekend. I mean, there's so many scenarios we'll go through, but the idea of this conversation is to find a way that you can stand on your own and not listen to this. And it's tough because sometimes these are the people that are closest to you. I don't know about you. I know a few boo birds in my life that I try and stay clear of. You?
Yeah, well, not only do I try to stay clear of them, but like the reality of the situations for most of us is that we have these boo birds. They're close to us. And sometimes they're so close to us that it's really kind of hard to avoid. Mm-hmm. And these are the ones, I'm not saying like, these are the ones that are like in your face, negative, shooting you down. But, like with me personally, I see a lot of the time the people that are like kind of, it's like, oh, you don't think that's really going to work, do you? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I don't know if that's really a good idea. And for a lot of like, it's subtle. I guess that's the word that I'm looking for. Like you got the subtle boo birds. They're not the ones in the stands that are like screaming down, because we all know those people, and it drives me nuts. You got if you've been to a sports field, exactly who these people are.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like they put themselves out there so quick, right? It's always that guy or that mom, that dad or that mom that's sitting over there, and they're screaming at the they're screaming at their kids, they're screaming, in professional stadiums, like, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. Why'd you, But the subtle ones, I think the subtle ones are like the true killers in most of our lives, because it's like the ones that are just like watering this little seed that they plant.
Oh yeah.
Over and over and over again. And we all know, like, we talk about the RAS a lot. If a story keeps getting fed to us over and over again, eventually it becomes either part of our identity or we've shut it off completely and detached. Right. But there's really only one or two options there. Right. And so this is with business, this is with fitness, this is with, health, this is with schooling, with everything, right? And I know we talk a lot of shit about schooling, and right. we'll boo bird the fuck out of college sometimes.
right. Well,
it's different.
Yeah. I mean, you're spot on to what the term is, and John and I have our outside businesses where we do a lot of business coaching and not necessarily life coaching, but kind of a combination. Those business owners that are stuck And the hard part, or I shouldn't say the hard part, one of the methods we use, we have a metaphor that ties everything back to football. We have a stadium, and you draw it on the board, and maybe we'll put this up at another time. But if you think of a stadium, if you're a helicopter flying above it, there's the circle that's the football field, or the rectangle, and then there's the stand where all of the fans are. And really, what the way we equate it is, the players on the field have put in the time, especially if you look at the NFL. These are the best of the best. And these are the people that have made the decision to commit their life to a certain mindset and physical and just everything about it, eating right and doing it all. And don't get me wrong, there's some people on that field that probably are not following the perfect regimen of all factors. But
not everybody can be TB12.
Right. But for the most part, they're following it. And you have those boo birds that are up in the audience, or the fans, that just believe they know more, or they can be more, and they feel like they have the right to say something to the players. And you sit back, and it's like you said, if you say it enough, people start to hear it, and it sinks in. And then you equate that to someone in their business, and you have a business owner that decided to step out on his own, or you have someone that's decided, hey, I'm sick of being this weight, or I want to try. I hate my job. I want to try something new, and immediately,
that's not safe.
The critics come out, or the boo bird comes out, and they give their own 2 cents. In it's nothing that's going to build you up. It's an immediate, why would you do that? And I can't believe you're going to do that. And then you second guess yourself. And the hard part, I think personally, when we go back to the metaphor with the football field, is when you're on the field, you're playing with other guys, other girls that run just as hard as you. They understand what the goal is. They know where the touchdown is. They know where the home run is. They know where, the ace is, whatever it may be, the hole in one. And they're rooting for you, unless they're on the other team and then they want to knock your head off. But they still understand, like, you're going to play as hard as you can, and so are they, and you want them to play as hard. But on the field, you have those people that see it. Once you step off that field, though, everyone's a critic. And the idea is, how do you strengthen your mindset to get past that? How do you build a system that ignores the boo birds, that can just hear the noise for what it is? It's noise. And I think that's kind of the discussion today, is how do you separate that, especially when it's a loved one, when it's potentially a parent, or a brother or sister, or spouse for that matter, or just the neighbor that you got to see. It could be anyone. It's a colleague at work. You want to start something new, and they just step out of the closet and start giving you their 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, so I absolutely love using the professional athletes for this, because, like, they get asked this a lot all the time, right? Like, because you look at some of these professional athletes, and I was just talking about like Antonio Brown and like Odell Beckham and like those guys that kind of like got like shunned to the back, right, because of their egos and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, you got these guys and women, both sides of this, that are high performing people. And the question is, like, they have critics. Who's Caitlin Clark? Is that her name?
Yeah.
The basketballs. Oh my God. Like, she gets shit on so much.
Yep.
And what does she do? She just keeps playing.
Right.
And she keeps playing her heart out. She keeps growing. She keeps getting better. Right. She's not getting distracted because, they'll all say it. They don't hear that stuff anymore. Like, they have literally just trained their mind to just completely shut off. We talk about the funnel.
Yeah.
Right. And essentially this is where like the boo birds come in. You got the funnel that goes into your head, and it's like, what do you let through? What do you not let through? Because you got to put up some kind of barriers. But what's even harder, like, it's easy. I feel like, for me, not listening to the critics that aren't so close. And I know you mentioned, like, how do you deal with it when it's like the family and stuff like that? It's like, if some random person is walking down the street and he's like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that. That's not safe. That's risky. Don't spend your money on that. And I'll be like, okay, whatever, dude. Like,
right, exactly.
And I'd keep going, right? Because, like, I don't know this person. He has no authority in my life. I don't know where he comes from, what his specialty and whatever it is that I'm doing. It's easy to like be on the court or the field and like listen to the guy like, oh, you shouldn't have thrown that, or oh, you should have, like, dude, get over it, right?
Yep.
I don't even know who you are. I'm not even like entertaining it. But like, when it's your family, like, that's a whole different level. When it's your friends, Like that's a whole different thing, you know, and it is. So it's like, you can try to shut it out all you want, but it's getting through for most of us.
That's where
the average person.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. But it's the perfect analogy of what you made. When a complete stranger tells you you shouldn't do something, you shrug it off. But then we'll take an instance of business. Mm-hmm. Some stranger, some guy that works, and I'm not blasting anyone by picking a profession, but pick anything. Someone that makes muffins. I don't know if this is an actual person, but whatever. There's plenty of someone that makes muffins, and that's all they do for their whole life is make muffins. And then when they're your buddy from, let's say, from high school, and you want to start a business, and you're going to start a business being a plumber. All of a sudden, this person shows up and they're saying, what a stupid move. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do this. Now, he's been your buddy for years, but he knows nothing about plumbing. He knows nothing about your drive. He knows nothing about anything that's in your head. And all he did was make muffins his whole life. He's a muffin expert. Now, if you're going to open a muffin store, you would want to talk to him. But no different than a stranger saying, I don't think you should do that. The Muffin Man, it just worked out that way. The Muffin Man, do you know the Muffin Man?
Yeah, I do now, yeah.
But the Muffin Man starts spouting off his shit and you listen. But yet he's a stranger to the whole aspect of what you're trying to achieve. And just because he's in your inner circle, he's in that stadium of thinking he's allowed to give you some type of criticism or advice or direction, you're supposed to listen. And in my coaching, what I teach, it's a statement I say all the time, and it's not derogatory if you listen to the words. Don't take advice from anyone more fucked up than you are. And really, what that means is, it doesn't mean that they're fucked up, and it doesn't mean that I'm fucked up. It's just, okay, I'm going to get into something that I know I would be great at. If they're not great at it, but yet they find every reason outside of that specific thing, then they're fucked up. So why would I listen to them? But we sit there and say, oh, that's my mom. Oh, that's my brother. Oh, that's my boy from college. But again, the Muffin Man sneaks in your head and says, I don't think you should do the plumbing, but maybe no one understands. Like I invented a new toilet. I don't know where I come up with this shit.
I don't know either, man.
Smoking too much shit in college. But anyway, but the idea there is that the Muffin Man doesn't know shit about making toilets. Shit and toilets. There you go. Another one. But that's my point, man. is this is a mental game. This is a boo bird that comes and lands on your fence and just starts chirping. And we feel like we have to listen. I mean, do you have someone in your life that you think you have to listen to and they don't know jack diddly shit about whatever it is you're looking at?
Okay, so I have people in my life that think they know best because they want what's best.
Sure.
And that's the angle that a lot of this comes from, is like, just because people want what's best for you doesn't mean they know what's best for you. Yeah, I mean, I'm an idea person. I am very vocal about being an idea person. I'm constantly talking about new stuff that I want to explore or go down the road. And I have people in my life that shut it down. Like in not like a direct way, but like people that like immediately bring up the downside or immediately say, that's probably not smart, or I can't believe you would even consider that, or, just like stupid stuff like that. And it's like, but at the end of the day, it's, I look at this and none of this is an attack, right? But I look at what I'm talking about and I look at the person and they have no background.
Right.
In what it is.
They're ignorant.
Right? Like they just don't know. Right. And I try to say that to a lot of people that deal with this, right? Like I've coached clients through this where it's like they don't understand you. I call them like normies, right? Like, if you're an athlete, I actually had an athlete one time who was starting to get really down on himself because he was in high school and he played baseball and he was a little extreme. Right. But he was like, when I show up, like I want to perform at the highest levels all the time. And my team, I'm always trying to bring up my team and all this stuff. And like his family they thought he had a problem. They thought like he was obsessive and he was, like too distracted and all this stuff. Right. And he's just like, no, I just really fucking love baseball.
Right.
I want to go D1. Like, I want to do all this stuff. And like, so we had to break through this thing. It's like, they don't know what that's like. They're not that driven, right? If you're talking about drive and ambition and goals and all these things, the people who have settled, which again, right or wrong, doesn't matter. But if you're talking about stuff up here and the people over here only know this, of course they're going to doubt. Of course, because they can't see that. You know, it's like athletes. It's like when you're 15 years old and you're like, I'm going pro. And people are like, well, you know that, you know the statistics about that aren't in your favor, right?
Right.
And then you always have I don't care. Statistics don't mean shit. And then they go do it. You hear the stories all the time.
Oh yeah.
And so and this is one of my big things is like, you look at all these famous people, and I'm not even just in sports, like actors, actresses, athletes, all across these boards, that these people that made it big from nothing. And people are sitting there worried about statistics.
Well, for sure.
Like, there's so many stories of people overcoming the most enormous odds, and people are still, all they focus on is the people that failed.
Well, and I think a part of this too is the understanding. I'm always going to go back to a lesson here, and look at the person that's feeding you this advice, and they're not doing it to be mean. I don't want to sound critical of them. It's a belief in their head that they think there's a better direction for you, and I see this with my kids. Perfect example. They've done very well. They're all of them. I have 5 kids, and they're all great kids, and everyone should have my kids because they're just great. They're fun loving. They're whatever. But we have friends and we have family members that just don't like their career choices, or don't like the fact that they didn't go to college. Some of them went and some of them didn't, and some have future aspirations of being auto mechanics, and some want to, do this and do that. And there's this constant harping on, well, I don't know if that's a good idea. And well, don't you think you should do this? And my kids will call me like, what do I do? Like, it's so tiring, Dad. Like, I really love this. And I just tell them flat out, keep plowing forward. But when your phone rings and it's that person on the other line, don't answer it. But I have to. No, you freaking don't. I mean, that's the problem here. And this is the thing I point out to a lot of my business owners. What if I fail? Okay. So what if you succeed? Like, it's a 50-50 shot. And if you think about it, at the end of the day, like, and I say this to everyone, if you're married and you own a business, you have one business partner. I don't care if you have 10 real business partners. Your only personal business partner is your spouse. If they're on board, which they may be scared shitless, which my wife is that person, because I do a lot of stupid adventures. 2 for 2 here, yeah. Right. But that's kind of like, okay, that's the only person I need to answer to. And the rest of them are just giving me advice or what they believe is advice. And most of the time it's, don't do it, dude. Don't do it. It's one of those things. Can you separate yourself from the nonsense or the ignorance that surrounds you? And that's the tough part. If you don't, every day the bird lands on the fence. Someone's not going to be happy with what you chose to do. Fair statement?
Yeah, it's when you're saying the bird lands on your shoulder, I'm like sitting here thinking, I'm like, it's not the devil and God or whatever on your shoulders. It's like, it's the boo bird.
Yeah.
And the support of people in your life, right? Like, that's the battle. And it is, it's you said so, I love it, right? Like the whole failure thing. And this, I think this plays a huge role into it, right? Like the boo birds. And this is why so many people let their family and their friends get so far in their head, is because they're, like most of us are raised on some level to like seek approval and validation and stuff. Or like, we want to make our parents proud. Like, that's just part of our culture, right? Like, we always want to make somebody proud outside of ourselves. And so like those people, if we want to make somebody else proud, we're going to give their words weight. Right. But like at the end of the day, fear of failure, you said it's like a 50-50 shot. And I'm like, it is a 50-50 shot until you start feeding one or the other.
Right.
Right. When you start out with a 50-50 shot in most things, right? Like even as a kid, like you have a 50-50 shot of going pro. You do. What changes that statistic for you personally is who you start listening to. Like, are you listening to the boober? Because then it's going to go down to 47%. It's going to go down to 40%. You're going to start feeding into those doubts. But if you start working your ass off even harder, if you start learning more about business, if you start learning about whatever it is that you want to go into, you're improving your odds.
Right.
Right. And so like, the idea of failure, and who cares? Who cares if you fail? How many times have you failed, man?
Oh my God. I'm still failing.
Still failing.
Right.
All the time.
Right.
I still go back and forth. Like,
right. But here's the part too, that and it just kind of popped in my head when you think failure is reduced when you surround yourself with winners. And, there's a famous statement, you become the 5 people you surround yourself with. And if you look at it, and anyone listening or whatever, like, look at who you hang out with. You probably all make about the same amount of money. You probably all act the same exact way. You probably have the same relationship with your spouse. There's going to be some nuances there, but you become who you're surrounded by. And if you surround yourself by boo birds, it's not that you're going to fail. You're not even going to attempt. Mm-hmm. Because when you start thinking of a really great idea, and this is where you'll listen to a lot of motivational speakers and coaches online where they say, don't tell anyone what you're doing. Just do it. Show it in your actions. And when they ask you questions, don't answer them, because they know. They're waiting to be a boo bird. It's not that they're intentionally doing it. It's that they don't have the mindset, or they have the initial fear of, holy shit, what if it doesn't work out? And it may be thoughts or concepts that you never really thought of because you were so freaking excited. Like, oh my God, I just thought of this toilet, and if I get it manufactured and I grow it and then I can mass produce it and then I can get distribution and I can do all this stuff, and I'm going to be known as the toilet guy. I'm not the muffin man. I'm the toilet guy. And holy shit, there's the pillow man on TV and there's the muffin man, and now I'm the toilet guy. Like, I'm so freaking excited. And then someone just walks in your life and says, where are you going to get the money to do that?
Boom.
Like, oh, fuck, I didn't think of that. Oh, shit. And most people will say, yeah, stupid idea. You don't even know anyone that has the money. You don't have and then it shuts you down. Like, then you start to sit on paper and you're like, oh, that's going to be expensive. Oh, that's it. And again, motivational speakers and everyone else says, don't ask how. Never ask how. The how will show up. And everyone's, oh, yeah, that's bullshit. You still got to know how. But it's kind of like once, if I sat here and said, okay, my whole toilet theory, and everyone listen, you got to kind of pay attention. If I really think I can be the next toilet guy, the next ShamWow, the next, pillow man, whatever his name, what's My Pillow? That's
My Pillow, yeah.
Pillow man sounds a little perverse. But my point there is if I'm so enamored by it and I'm so driven by it, it's that ignorance of my drive that prevents me to think that it can't succeed, that it can't fail. Like, why would it fail? Like, I just reinvented the toilet. Like, it's going to do something so magical. Like, the world needs this. And as long as I stay in my circle of 5 that I know, if I brought it to them and I say, hey, I had this idea, their first thing wouldn't be, that's a stupid idea. Their first thing would be, all right, tell me more. Okay, what about this? And they're not asking, what about this? Like, do I know what the fuck I'm talking about? They're asking, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? And the money thing will come up. That sounds like it's going to be expensive. What kind of money are we talking about? Who do we need to talk to? Like, they're there for us. They're giving us questions because I surrounded myself with those people. Whereas most people, and I'll call them W-2ers that have a job every day, that don't think outside the box from a business perspective, that just show up every day and wait till their manager tells them they suck. Well, they didn't get something done on time. They automatically believe, like you said, the RAS, the reticular activating system, like this is all I get. This is all I expect when I open my eyes in the morning. Wash, rinse, repeat every day. Because you've surrounded yourself with exactly what you don't want. Boo birds everywhere. You're the boo bird listening to the boo birds.
Yeah, it's funny because it's not like I've never done this to some extent, but like I really make it a conscious effort to like be the supportive person. Like, I have friends that come and they confide in me because they know that hopefully they trust that I'll be supportive. Right. And I got friends that are always bringing up business ideas and stuff like that. And I'm like, do it. Like, let's go. Like, what do you plan on doing with this? How is this going to go? Like, tell me more, because I don't know anything about this field. I have no idea. Obviously I can't give you advice, but like, because I don't know specifically about this industry, but man, I want to learn more. I want to and we have these discussions and like they get hyped up and I get hyped up. And like, so like the 5 people thing, right? LeBron James did it, right? He went to Miami solely to be on a team of 4 other dominant players to win a championship, right? He didn't go to some, unknown, right? That's what happened.
Yeah.
I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably the only way he would have. But anyway, yeah,
right.
People do it all the time because they understand. And this is what drives me the most crazy is, we talk about the other day, it's probably weeks ago, but whatever. I've been talking about it a lot since. It's like ignorance isn't admissible in the court of law, right? And the problem with a lot of boo birds is like they are just ignorant, right? Like they really just don't know, and they don't know what they're doing. And so this is part of the whole mindset shift is understanding that, like, when I'm talking about something and the other person doesn't know what I'm talking about, their actual opinion kind of goes out the window right
Absolutely.
then and there,
Right?
Like I don't even argue about it. I don't even worry about it. I don't stress about it. None of that stuff. It just goes right out the window. We can have a conversation, but I'm not giving any weight to their effort, their side of the discussion.
Right.
So we shift our mind to start focusing on only the things that line with what we're trying to do, right? So like when I'm talking business, like I don't go to people who don't own a business.
Right.
I go talk to people who own a business,
Absolutely.
who are successful business owners.
Right.
I want to make more money. I don't go and walk around and talk to the homeless people. Now, if I wanted to know how to lose money so that I can try to avoid those things, I would probably go talk to them. Right. But it's just crazy. I guess where I was going with this is like you're talking about the motivational speakers, and this is the part that actually drives me crazy. Is in today's time, there are so many motivational speakers. There are so many people that are out here saying the exact same thing, saying, the RAS, talking about how surrounding yourself with the 5 people, you are the sum average of the 5 people that you hang around with most, right?
Right.
And so like, I love that point too, because it's like, yeah, of course, people give me this all the time when I say that. They're like, yeah, but like, I have a rich friend and I have a poor friend and I have a fat friend and I have a fit friend. Like, and I'm like, yeah, of course, yeah, but that's you in the middle of a circle. They have their own circles. They have their own circles, right? You are the average of the 5 people, right? So if I looked at the 5 immediate people around you, you're the average of that,
right?
So if you have one friend that's rich and one friend that's poor, you're probably in the middle,
right?
If you have, 2 friends that are fat and 2 friends that are skinny, you're probably in the middle, or you're one or the other, right? But like, you are the average of all that stuff combined, right? You're not going to be, right? Like you look at these high level athletes again, like they're not hanging around in the hood anymore.
Some of them are, but keep going.
Are they?
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, they go back to it, right? And
Right,
they do their give backs and stuff, but like they're not hanging out with the people that are still gang banging.
Well,
Some of them are, but they out themselves.
Right.
But I'm saying like they don't go back to like the old ways. Right. Like they stick around with high performing people. Even with their parties and stuff like that, but like the ultra successful, like they still hang, talk. It's funny. Ed Milet talks about this a lot. Like he still has friends that make $40,000, $50,000 a year.
Sure.
Right. Guys making millions of dollars a month.
Right.
And he talks to them still, but I guarantee you he's not hanging out with them every day anymore.
No.
The people, and I guess that's where I'm going with this. Like we have all these people saying the exact same thing, right? That if you feed into the boo birds, you're going to fail. Right? They exist. If you hang out with people that have what you want, you're probably going to succeed.
Right. I'm going to take this in the sense of, because I go a bunch of different ways, and I agree. That was a perfect analogy with the average. You got some that have this, some that have, it doesn't matter whether it's money, it's fitness, it's the ability to speak, whatever it may be. There's a high and there's a low, and you're probably right in the middle, or God forbid you're the low. But again, if it's just 5 of 5 of 5 all over the place, at some point you're the average. And the point I'm making there, though, is if you want to elevate your game, you want to get in a new circle. Mm-hmm. But to your point on Ed Milet, it doesn't mean you forget people.
No.
It's not a fuck off type of thing. It's a listen. I have a dream to do this, and that dream needs me to be involved with people that are not only experts in it, but they're good enough at it, or they represent what it is that I want. So I need to be around it. And the more I'm around it, the more I start to own it and I start to feel it. I mean, I've said this before. My wife is ultra fit and she eats right and she does everything right. And sometimes it's sickening. But it's how I met this guy. I mean, it's like, okay, I have a new circle and John's in this circle and I have other circles because of the fit world. And I'm in much better shape because I was a fat slug. There's a photo. Maybe I'll find it. It looks like I'm 7 months pregnant. But the circle that I get into brings me to a level where it's like, okay, I'm the fat guy in the group. There's 4 other dudes in this group there's no dad bod shit going on. It's like, wow, these motherfuckers take care of them. They eat right. They're sitting there with their little freaking Tupperware dish, eating their rice and meat and whatever. And most people are like, that's so dumb. But it's like, well, why is that dumb? Because that makes that person happy. And it took me a while to learn this with my wife. Like, it just makes her happy to eat right. So I don't need to blast her. But the Boo Birds, when we go out to dinner, and they're close friends, like Maria just shows up and she looks at the menu and says, all right, I'm going to get a salad, throw a piece of salmon on there. I don't want any dressing on it. Put the dressing on the side. And she rattles off the same order. And I always make a joke with the waiter and say, all right, hold on. This is going to be fun. She's going to pull off everything on this meal. She's going to recreate your menu because she knows what's good and bad. But anyone we're with is like, oh, God, just for once would you eat? And it's like, well, if I hung out with a bunch of crackheads and they're like, oh, just for once, smoke this crack.
That's it right there.
Right, but that sucks you in. And it's that idea. And again, I use this a lot in coaching. Like, if you want to make a difference, you want to make a change, you either have to block out the ignorance. And I don't use that in a negative term. I use it in the fact that what they're telling you is ignorant to the level of whatever your plan or idea is. And you have to focus. But if you can't do that, it's like I lift you up and you're steadfast against smoking. And I put you on an island and there's 4 other people on that island and they all smoke. I give you a couple weeks, maybe a week before you're like, hey, let me fucking try that. You'll get sucked right in. I don't care who you are. As strong as you think your mindset is, you will get sucked in unless you just move to the other side of the island, because the influence will eventually get into your head. And that's what screws up most people. That's the Boo Birds. That's the people you surrounded yourself with that you think whatever message they're giving you makes sense. Nope.
Yeah, well, and that's a great example too, because the island thing, right? Like, and you said it already. It doesn't mean you don't know that they exist over there. It's not that you don't go check in on them once in a while, right? Like, a lot of my family members smoke. I used to smoke. I'm not a smoker anymore, but I can see them once in a while and it doesn't pull me in. But if I were to live in that household,
for sure,
eventually I'd be like, oh, you know what? Let me hit that real quick. Like, I love that you brought up the crackheads, because there's what is that? There's a quote. It's like, if you hang out with 4 other millionaires, chances are you'll be the 5th. If you hang out with 4 other drug addicts, eventually chances are you'll be the 5th. Right. And that's exactly what we're talking about. I mean, like, that's, and you can't say it doesn't exist. I mean, if you just look, and I understand we're all in different circles, right? I'm not talking about like, I'm in one strict circle and I only have 4 other people in my life. Like, right. I'm in different circles.
Sure.
Like I have a business circle, I have a personal circle, fun circle, whatever. And it's, in those situations, I am the average of what's going on in that group. So you can't say, if you just stopped for a second, if you just stopped for a moment and started saying, okay, how did I develop this particular habit? Whatever it is, right? So like, if you are a smoker, chances are you probably hang out with other smokers.
Correct.
If you're a social drinker, chances are and you can check this on your own by saying, okay, well, what do I do regularly? Okay, well, if you drink, do you go to the bar, right? Do you think it would be a good idea if you were trying to quit drinking to go to the bar?
Yeah, no.
Probably not. No. Right? If you're a smoker, look at the people around you. Do at least half of them probably smoke in your main circle.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Probably. Yeah. Right? At least social smoking. Right? So like, this is one of those like tests we can do in our own life. It's like, okay, well, if I have this mindset, like, who around me has this mindset? And we start picking apart all that stuff. And it's like, well, who's really like influencing me? Because we are creatures of influence. I don't care what anybody says. And you said it, like, I don't care. You said it, like, I don't care how strong your will is. I'll tell you right now, I have a really strong fucking will.
Yep.
Right? And there are times, if I'm surrounded with certain people, that they start to like chip away at my fucking wall. They don't get through, but I can feel it chipping away.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee you people around you are influencing you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really important to step back and ask, like, who's influencing me and how are they influencing me? And all this, like, it's my mom, it's my sister, I have to. Like, I love that you brought that up, because it's like, the fuck I don't.
Right.
Well,
like, right. And I think this is the piece, and we'll take this back to the stadium.
Getting a little.
The guys on the field have been working with their coaches and trainers and everything else. And they have a playbook. They know exactly what they're supposed to do. They know exactly who they're supposed to block. They're not supposed to, the linemen are not supposed to go catch a pass. The running backs are not supposed to throw the ball. Sometimes they do. The defensive end is not a cornerback. He may be able to run someone down. But my point there is everyone has their job. And their job is critical and they become experts at it. But yet everyone's critical of how they did their job or why they did their job. But no one knew what the play was. They can stand up. He sucks. He didn't throw the ball the right way. Well, hold on. He didn't throw the ball the right way. But, the guard on that particular play got, the defensive lineman stunted and got around him and the quarterback couldn't get the throw off. Do we blame the guard? Do we blame the quarterback? No, you give credit to the defensive lineman that kicked ass and he broke up the play. But again, the critical people are sitting up in the stand saying, that dude sucks balls. Like you didn't even know what the play was. You have no idea. Was it a 3-step, 4-step, what hole he was going in? And this is the part that I'll bring back to people. We get easily swayed from our thoughts or our decisions of what we want to do because you have no fucking plan.
Ooh.
So if you have an idea of a plan, you can't, and this is one of the things where they say, don't tell people what you're doing because you might not have thought it out. You just have a really great fucking idea. Like, I had this idea. I'm going to invent a new toilet. And everyone's going to say, what's wrong with the old toilet? Da, 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 da. And you're like, fuck, I shouldn't have said anything because now now they're right. I mean, there's so many, how hard it would be and it's in your head. Well, it's like, hold on a second. If you drew out the plan and said, all right, I got to do this. First, I got to invent it. Then I got to get intellectual, I got to file a patent. Then I got to, and you literally brainstorm for weeks with your mouth fucking shut. You're not telling anyone. I wouldn't even tell your spouse because they'll be like, oh God, here we go again. But my point there is like, until you work out a plan and you see how all the dots connect in your own mind, it's like you've built up this willpower to say, you know what, you 4 smokers on the island, I can't hang with you. I got to go to the other side of the island. I got shit to do right now. And I got to be honest with you, I can't breathe the right way when you guys are around. So I'm going to the other side island. This plan I created, I'm going to be the toilet man. Everyone's going to think this is amazing. I am so hell bent on this plan that I know anyone that stops in front of me, I'm going to knock them the fuck over. But if I don't have a plan, it doesn't matter. Anything they could say the stupidest thing in the world. Think that's smart right now? You have a baby on the way. You have this, you have that. Like, I didn't even think of that. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's an easy way to like kind of fix that whole problem is like creating a plan, right? Like when you have a playbook, the obstacles become so less relevant. And all they are just things to step around, figure out how to get over, and it's and I think I talked about this with like faith in one of the other episodes. Like when you just have faith, like wholeheartedly, like nothing else really matters, like when I have a plan and I'm pursuing that plan and I have purpose and passion behind it, I really don't care what else is going on. Like I don't really care what anybody else has to say, but those people that have like a less degree of faith, right? They might even put on an act that they have more, right? Like there's always these people that like, and I'm just using faith as an example, but like it's like the confidence and ego thing. Like they talk a good game to make it seem like they have more happiness, more faith, more whatever it is. And it's those people that, because they don't actually have it, they don't actually have the plan on how to get more, they don't actually have the passion behind it. It doesn't take much to come in and start breaking that away. Mm-hmm. When you start kind of like, pulling out all the contradictions from whatever they're saying, where it's like, well, you said this, and like, well, what about this? And you bring up all those doubts, and it's easy for people who don't have that plan, because if I had a plan and you came at me and you said, well, what about this? I'd be like, okay, well, this, I'm solution focused now. Right. Even if it's not on my plan, at least I have the plan and I can say, well, I didn't think about that, but now I'm going to add it to my plan and I'm going to find a way to overcome it. Right. But if I don't have a plan, it's like, oh man, you're kind of right. Like, I really don't know how the hell I'm going to do this. And then all it takes is that seed. And then you water it with hanging around with the same people that are doing the same stuff, saying the same things over and over again.
Right. And I think the point I want to make here is no one knows they're a boo bird. I mean, there are douchebags out there that are just constantly busting your balls about stuff. And you're like, God, I'm never talking to that guy because I can tell him that I cured cancer, and I'm like, whatever. So people don't know, but I think the big part of this is, and I'm getting this epiphany myself. If you want to do something, keep your fucking mouth shut. If you don't have the circle that you know is going to support you on this, and again, I make the joke about building toilets. I think I need to go out and find guys that have built the toilet before, or plumbers, or whatever it may be, and have conversations with them. I'm still not going to tell them that I'm inventing a toilet, but it's like, I'm going to do my own research. And this is the part that slays me about people spouting off what they're going to do, especially when you have no fucking clue what you're saying out loud without, really doing some kind of research. Is if you have an idea and you work on it and you work on it and you negate it yourself because you found research that just says I can't, doesn't mean you stop. It means go find someone that did and say, what's the secret sauce? Sometimes when we find out in our own head that we can't, we go find someone that is going to tell us we can't. And then it's almost like reinforcement to just say, I knew it. You were right. I was thinking just like you were doing. And you know what? That was a stupid idea. I'm not going to do it. I mean, how many diets fail?
Well, I'm just saying, like, people just look for the validation to like justify
right, and that's
quitting.
What it is.
Yeah, like that's
right. Like I'll start again on Monday. Like I did 4 good days. Then my buddy just called me, asked me to go get beers, and he's like, "Hold on a second, I did 4 good days. Like, could I tell him, hey, can we just not get beers? What do you mean we're not getting beers? Like, come on, dude, we do this every Thursday." Well, we forgot about that when we made our pseudo plan. Part of planning is also letting those that know you're not going in their same direction anymore. You got to let them know. It's not that we can't hang out, but if we're hanging out, I would prefer not to drink because I'm trying to cut back. Or, you know what, if we're going to go out, don't bust my balls about eating a salad or getting chicken or something when we're at the wing shop and, this preferred fries, which, by the way, they're the greatest things in the world. But you get my point. It's like, if you're going to deliver a message, the message should be to the Boo Birds. Listen, I don't need your shit. If you want to get on someone, find someone else to get on. I have a plan. I have an idea, and you're not in the same league as I am today. And that's not being higher or lower. You're not in the same mindset. It's probably a better position of where I think this can go. If you want to meet me at that mindset, do your own shit. And God, I would love to have a conversation with you. But if you're just being ignorant, spouting off what you think based on, here's another one, based on my historical successes or failures. Oh God, here you go. You're going to do this now. Or I've watched other guys try that and they failed. It's like, okay, history repeats itself, so I wouldn't do it. And yet you see some guy that started a bookstore online and everyone said, what a stupid idea. You're selling books online. There's a library right there and there's Barnes and Noble and there's B. Dalton's and that's so stupid. You got to wait for them to mail you a book. And now he's the second richest man in the world with Amazon that turned into more than a bookstore. So it's like, follow it, come up with it, figure it out, try it, fail miserably, learn from the failure, keep doing it, wash, rinse, repeat. Not, I don't think it's a good idea. Yeah, you're right. I'll just stay at my job.
Which brings me to another point. How many businesses do you know that fail and their employees get let go?
Quite a bit. Quite a bit. I mean, it's
just this, like, safety is an illusion.
Right.
Like, safety doesn't actually exist. Like, we build up this idea that it does because I got a W-2 job. I'm safe. I have a steady income. Well, okay, you wake up tomorrow and they fire you. I mean, I know people just now recently who wake up one day and their business just gets shut down. There was no warning. It happens all the time.
Yep.
How safe is that?
Right. But I'll take this point, and I'm with you. There's
yeah. I mean, I could go.
There's
on
no
and
safety,
about that, yeah.
And I don't want to make it seem like you're a W-2 employee, and that's not doing. It's that same mindset there. I'm looking to get a promotion, or I'm looking. It's really, if you're not growing, you're dying. So whether you want to start a business or you want a hobby or whatever, if you're an employee, it's like, okay, what did you wake up today and think to yourself, I'm going to kill it at work today. I'm done with hanging out with negative Nellies that they're at the water cooler. And, my manager is a prick. He's a flaming douchebag. But let me figure out how to conquer that rather than fuck him. I'm not going to do shit today. I'm going to sit on my ass and blah, blah, because when you go to work, as soon as you walk in, Bob from the shipping department walks, yeah, Johnny manager came to my office. What a dick he is. And well, he just feeds your engine now. You're automatically in, the manager's a dick. Like, okay, not happening. You could sit there and say, no, I'm going to try and give the guy the benefit of the doubt. He's probably under a lot of stress. Bob in shipping is going to be like, fuck that. He's still an asshole. So it's this. It all depends on what the plan is. Do I want to move? Do I want to excel? Do I want to do something different? Do I want to get involved in it? I mean, I'm trying to get my family to move out of Ohio. I have a lot of planning and homework to do because I keep saying it. And my wife's like, no, not happening. Well, when I roll out the full-blown plan, because she pokes holes in it all the time. What about this? What about this? And they're all good questions. But again, if I don't devise the plan secretly, I'm going to fail. Got to come prepared. So
proper planning prevents poor performance. That was a lot of peas. Sorry, I was struggling there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll wipe my face from all the peas. But again, going back to the Boo Birds, the idea here on this conversation is this. If you're going to want to do something, if you're going to go to achieve, again, small or large, there's going to be people around you that are feeding you what they believe is good advice. And I'm telling you, follow the philosophy of don't take advice from anyone more fucked up than you are. If they don't know your area of where you want to head, doesn't matter what it is. Why are you listening? You don't need to alienate them personally, physically, and whatever when this topic is not being discussed. But when that topic's being discussed of what you want to do or be or say or anything, ignore them. They're not helping you. They're only making you think different than what you already know you could possibly achieve. So I think that's the lesson. If someone is giving you advice and your first question is, does this person have a clue what they're talking about? Have they done it ever in their life? Have they achieved what it is that you're trying to achieve? If every one of those answers is no, shut your ears off. They're just squawk bird. Bark, 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 bark. Like, don't listen. Doesn't mean they're bad unless they're saying bad shit. Move on. Listen to Charlie Brown's Teacher. And when it's over, and move away. But you'll know next time, I'm not even bringing the topic up. It's just not worth my anguish of listening to them tell me I will not be successful. Or you just need to settle down. Or you need to get a real job. Or you need to stop hanging out with that person. Or that person's an asshole. I don't know why you hang out with them. Like, these are all the little tidbits that get thrown. That's not what we thought your mom would want, or your dad would want, or your brother would want. There's so many, like, let me do a comparison. You're your own fucking person, period. At the end of the day, it's your head on the pillow, not theirs. It's your fight. Fight your fight, period. Man, that was good. Write that shit down.
Yeah, I'm glad I actually recorded. Oh, shit, no. Forget to hit it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to, yeah.
You're good.
I'm going to leave that there because that was.
And if you want, I'll say this is the last thing. And it's the first time I've thrown this out.
Now we're going to mess it up.
You want to talk about this further? Call us. Reach out. Post something in the comment, man. This is my wheelhouse here. This is what I do. And I'm not trying to pitch myself, but I freaking love this. To find the inner strength. Yeah, there you go. I try and find the inner strength in everyone because you have it. You just didn't surround yourself with the right people. If you want me in your circle, giddy up. Leave me a comment. I don't care if we just go back and forth on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Totally cool with it. But if you don't have someone, I'm right here.
People that want to see you win will help you win.
Always.
And I want to see everyone win.
Right. So call John, call me, reach out to us, leave a comment, tell us we're dumbasses, or just tell them thanks for that. I needed it. Outside of that, peace out.
Toodles.